Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl that everyone loved, especially her grandmother. One day, her grandmother gave her a red velvet cap, and because it suited her so well, the girl always wore it. Soon, everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother said, "Come, Little Red Riding Hood, here is a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take these to your grandmother who is sick and weak. They will help her feel better. Go before it gets too hot, and be careful. Don't stray from the path or you might fall and break the bottle, and then your grandmother will have nothing. And don't forget to say good morning when you get there." "I'll do everything just as you said," Little Red Riding Hood promised and shook her mother's hand. Her grandmother lived deep in the forest, about half an hour away from the village. As Little Red Riding Hood walked through the forest, she met the wolf. She didn't know what a dangerous animal he was and wasn't afraid of him. "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf. "Good morning, wolf," she replied. "Where are you going so early?" asked the wolf. "To my grandmother's," she answered. "What are you carrying under your apron?" "Cake and wine. We baked yesterday, and I'm taking them to my sick grandmother so she can get her strength back." "Where does your grandmother live?" asked the wolf. "A little further into the forest, under the 3 big oak trees. Her house is there, surrounded by nut bushes. You'll surely find it," she said. The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender little thing. She will be a tastier meal than the old woman. I must be clever to get both." He walked beside her for a while, then said, "Little Red Riding Hood, look at all the beautiful flowers around you. Why don't you stop and pick some? And can you hear how lovely the birds are singing? You're walking as if you're going to school, but the forest is so cheerful." Little Red Riding Hood looked around and saw the sunbeams dancing through the trees and all the beautiful flowers. She thought, "If I bring grandmother a fresh bouquet, it will make her happy. It's still early, so I'll have time." She left the path and wandered into the forest to pick flowers. But as she picked one, she saw an even prettier one further away and went deeper and deeper into the forest. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to the grandmother's house. He knocked on the door. "Who is it?" asked the grandmother. "It's Little Red Riding Hood bringing cake and wine," said the wolf. "Just press the latch," called the grandmother. "I'm too weak to get up." The wolf pressed the latch and the door opened. Without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and swallowed her whole. Then he put on her clothes, placed her cap on his head, and lay down in her bed, pulling the curtains shut. When Little Red Riding Hood finished picking flowers, she remembered her grandmother and headed to her house. She was surprised to find the door open. When she stepped inside, she felt uneasy and thought, "Oh my, why am I feeling so scared? I usually love visiting grandmother." She called out, "Good morning," but there was no answer. She went to the bed and pulled back the curtains. There lay her grandmother, but she looked strange. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have. All the better to hear you with, my dear." "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have. All the better to see you with, my dear." "Oh, grandmother, what big hands you have. All the better to grab you with, my dear." "But grandmother, what a big mouth you have. All the better to eat you with." As soon as the wolf said that, he jumped out of bed and swallowed Little Red Riding Hood whole. With his belly full, the wolf lay back down and started snoring loudly. A hunter passing by the house heard the noise and thought, "How loudly the old woman is snoring. I should check on her." He stepped inside and saw the wolf lying in bed. "Ah, there you are, you old sinner. I've been looking for you." He was about to shoot the wolf when he thought, "Maybe the grandmother is still alive inside." The hunter put down his gun and took a pair of scissors. He started cutting open the wolf's belly. After a few cuts, he saw the red cap, and soon Little Red Riding Hood jumped out. "Oh, how scared I was. It was so dark inside the wolf." Then the grandmother came out, alive but weak. Little Red Riding Hood quickly gathered large stones and helped fill the wolf's belly. When he woke up, he tried to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he fell down and died. The hunter, the grandmother, and Little Red Riding Hood were all relieved. The hunter took the wolf's skin, and the grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine. Little Red Riding Hood thought to herself, I will never leave the path again when Mother tells me to stay on it." And they all lived happily ever after.